welcome back to WESG Hearthstone qualifying action. We're bringing you the Chinese Taipei group right now. I am Cinder, and I am joined by my friend and co-captain on our team. This is Rip Hobson. How you doing, buddy?
Howdy. I'm doing fantastically, Cinder. I'm very excited for this. Very excited to be casting with you, because this is promising to be a very interesting game. How are you today?
Oh, I'm doing great. Looks like Kaosai is going to start on the odd rogue to try off with an aggressive start, and G9 starting off with the shuttle walk. He's feeling a little bit confident in the walk today, and Kaosai's hand not too bad, and neither is G9's opening start. Both have some of the tools they need to get their engines rolling in this matchup.
Yeah, what G9 Malygos is going to be really looking for is, well, it's Volcano first and foremost. That's the card you really want in this matchup. Everything else is kind of superfluous. Kaosai is going to be looking for those power 3-drops, the Flappy Bird, the Hench Clan Thug, or indeed Cobalt Scalebane is a massive nuisance against Shadowwalk Shaman, just because they can't deal with that much stuff.
Well, so far, no 3-drops in the hand for Kaosai, but he is looking at some small minion pressure, which could play nicely with these 2 Fungal Mancers that are sitting in his hand, though.
But you know what? It's pretty bad against the Mind Control tech currently in G9 Malygos' hand. There is a Gluttonous Ooze. That's a pretty good card.
Yeah, Gluttonous Ooze it's definitely a solid card, but so is Glacial Shard. Either way, you know, shutting off this dagger attack on turn 3 can really put a hurting on Rogue's early development. And we see the G9s opted for the Glacial Shards to try and challenge the board and freeze that dagger hit to try to hold off the possibility of activating a Hench Clan Thug.
Yeah, and so by doing that, Malygos has just played perfectly into saying, go on, 1-drop and redagger, and then this Gluttonous Ooze is just going to completely wreck that. And
Kaosai forced to redevelop a little bit here. Not a whole lot of power 3s. We talked about the Pteranodon or the Hench Clan Thug. Neither of them having been drawn into hand, but he does have the SI-7. What is the Flappy Bird's proper name? Is it Pterodax?
Vicious Fledgling.
Fledgling. Oh my goodness! I'm thinking the Warlock card. For once, Rebob, you got a card right, and I didn't. Mark this on your calendar.
Maybe you're thinking of the Pterodax Hatchling, the 3-mana 2/2.
Yeah. Could be. All the same, Kaosai has managed to clear the board here and get a Cold Blood on that Argent Squire, but Saturday Night Chain Gang going to have something to say about it, but then Fungal Mancer right back at you.
Yeah, this is one of those positions where maybe Kaosai could also just think about the Void Ripper, then the 2/1 Flame Elemental will deal with a 3/2 Chain Gang very nicely. Dagger will deal with the other. And then you have a 1/5, which is... it's a good stat line to kind of buff things further. That 1/5 is really going to do well with a Fungal Mancer on the following turn, and even has a 1-drop in the Deadly Poison to go alongside it. So without a Volcano, this is going to be really hard for Malygos to deal with still.
Yeah, this is looking like a decent turn 6 for Kaosai. Malygos on the other side of the board, though. Hagatha being picked up, and he's still holding the coin as well. So the possibility of being able to hold off the mid-game here from Kaosai is definitely possible. Still holding a Hex as well.
Yeah, that Hex is going to come out, I imagine, after we see... Ooh. It looks like Malygos was thinking about just Zola on a Taunt Totem there. That Earth Shock, though, is going to be absolutely fantastic on this Argent Squire. If the Fungal Mancer does come down, it's going to go from a 3/7 minion to just being dead.
Wow. Usually Earth Shock coming in way more handy in that even lock matchup where it can pick off those Twilight Drakes by silencing the health buff. But yeah, that 3/7 is going to just go away if he opts to use it. And also Keliseth coming into the top deck, but Hex right here putting a real hurting on this mid-game offense from Kaosai.
Yep, both players just really kind of playing havoc with everything their opponent can do. There is the Flappy Bird coming ever so slightly late. And this Coin Hagatha is going to leave Kaosai with nothing but a 4/1. But with Malygos on 17 health with the 5 armor from Calicer, still got to be wary of things like just Leroy double Cold Blood. There are several cards in Calcio's hand that have been there for a while. The SA7 agent's been there for about 5 or 6 turns, I believe.
So here we go. That 4-1 that gets to stick, a dagger hit. That's 6 damage right off the bat. Plenty of damage in hand too from Calci between this SI7 and Leroy Jenkins. This is a ton of offense coming out.
Yeah, this is a lot of damage. With the Gluttonous Ooze having already been played, this dagger is safe, and this just sets up for even if the board is cleared, which we can see it will be with the volcano, unless there's a healing rain. Which
healing rain off the top from the far side.
And that's exactly the card that was a 2 in 16. That was a 1 in 18 to just not lose. A 1 in 8, sorry, to just not lose the game.
Unbelievable. So this means Calci cannot finish this game with Leroy. He's going to have to develop this fledgling, starting to run out of gas a little bit. He's got to hope that what he has in hand is going to be enough.
Yeah, Calci choosing to hold onto the deadly poison there for a couple of reasons. Because if Shudderwock is to be played in the next turn or two, then the Gluttonous Ooze will Battlecry will trigger. But also because just a cheap Valspine activator in case a buffed Saronite Chain Gang comes down. And Frost Shock, gonna deal with this Flappy Bird, make sure it doesn't hit face, and set up for a Lightning Storm to finish it off on any following turns. And now Calcite is behind on the board and really just running out of steam. Yeah,
although the deadly poison is going to give him a total of 8 damage out of this dagger over the next 2 turns. And unless a Saronite Chain Gang can find its way onto the board, Calcite is going to be able to deliver this dagger damage and finish this off with Leroy.
Oh no, it's still going to be 1 off lethal.
Oh, is it 1 off?
Yep, the 6 from Leroy plus the 4 from the dagger means that Malygos, assuming the board is cleared, is safe and can use the Forked Lightning plus a value trade from the Kelliser to clear this board off. And if they really wanted to, we could see the classic Hex Your Own Minion play.
I have seen it even very recently, and the Zap's going to take care of the Vicious Fledgling.
And they're just
hexing. Well,
playing
Kelliser, I don't think this is what you thought you were going to be, but you're going to be a frog today.
Yeah, Calcite just playing around the possibility of a Leroy second SI or a Leroy second Cold Blood. Just making sure that there are no outs whatsoever.
Is Calcite running deckhands in his deck as well?
Yeah, there are 2 deckhands, so there would be several outs, but with the Hex, that's actually exactly playing around the possibility of Leroy deckhand.
Yeah.
So that is just smart. And there's the Shudderwock. We've seen some Chain Gangs, we've seen the Hagatha. You need to attack with the minions before you play the Shudderwock. Malygos, remember that. No, because now Shudderwock is going to kill off these minions. That's a slight error from Malygos. But at this point, not sure if it's really going to matter.
No, as long as these freeze effects hit where they need to hit, then Malygos is going to be able to survive this turn, and that's all he needed it to do. Vilespine would have been helpful off the top, but all of a sudden the board's been flipped. Calcite is now facing a near lethal situation.
Which would have been lethal were Malygos to have just attacked with his onboard minions.
Yep.
So that's just a error which is probably not going to be punished in this situation.
And it is pretty late over there in another healing rain off the far side. That has just been some tremendous fortune coming off of those far sides to keep Malygos in this game. Every time he's been close to lethal, healing rains come off the top from the far side for 0 mana healing. My goodness, Rebob.
Yeah, and were the Frost Shock not to come off the Witch with the Zola, and were the healing rain to have not come off the far side there, Calcite did actually have some lethal outs there. If the Diamol had not been traded into, it would have been lethal with a top deck SI, with a top deck Cold Blood, with a top deck SA7 agent.
All kind of outs available for the Odd Rogue, plenty of damage in the deck to go, but turns out the Shudderwock's going to take the win. Malygos goes up 1-0 in this Chinese Taipei qualifier, so the Shudderwock will be retired for malygos.
The Shadow Walk will be retired. Yeah, I got confused as to what format
we're
playing.
playing Conquest, Bob.
We're playing Conquest indeed.
Kaosai is going to be on the remainder of his decks as well. He still has his Shadow Walk, so we have yet to see if he can equalize and bring this to a 3-game series.
Yep, and now the Shadow Walk Shaman for Kaosai has the mirror removed as an option, which is statistically the best matchup Kaosai has available to it, as the Even Warlock is slightly unfavored and the Death Rattle Hunter is quite unfavored, especially when it contains things like Charged Devil Saw.
Yeah, so Malygos will still have that Death Rattle Hunter available to go into Kaosai's Shadow Walk. Well, we're going to see the Even Lock versus the Odd Rogue. This is kind of bad news for Malygos here.
Yeah, this is the hand you really want. You want to have that Firefly into Flame Elemental Cold Blood start against a Even Warlock, but that Even Warlock has 2 copies of Acidic Swamp Ooze in its opening hand, as well as 2 Sun Fury Protectors. Those are really important cards against Odd Rogue.
Heck of a keep there
not so good.
No, that was a heck of a keep there in the mulligan there for Malygos. All he needs is just a couple of larger minions to pair with those Sun Fury Protectors, and Kaosai is going to have a hard time getting off the ground here, even though Odd Rogue's generally very good against the Even Warlock. The Even Warlock has all the tools in this game in particular.
Yeah. Kaosai there just stopped for a second and thought, because it's awkward situation you are in Odd Rogue when you have this Firefly start, but you also draw the Hench Clan Bug. You're just kind of like, which one do I want to prioritize here?
Sometimes I think if you have the ability to stick a Cold Blood, you just do it.
Yeah, you got to. This Firefly is pushing 10 damage so far, and it's still going completely uncontested. Unless Malygos wants to coin out a Hellfire, at which point it's essentially done 13 damage. That's a pretty good one-drop.
Or could also coin out the Spellbreaker as well to silence the minion.
Kaosai's thinking about playing this Argent Squire, even though there is an SI7 agent available in hand.
Oh wow, goes for it. Yeah, no activator for the SI7 at this current moment. And look how close Malygos is to activating this Hooked Reaver. Just 3 damage.
Yep, so the Hellfire would do it. The good old Acidic Swamp Ooze into Sun Fury Protector. Taunt up that 3-2.
Oof. No activator for the SI coming off the top. That means Kaosai is going to have to stick to the dagger to clear this Acidic Swamp Ooze. No new development on the board.
Would have been pretty good in hand to activate that SI7 agent.
Yep. Would have been a little bit more damage to face going into Malygos' Even Lock. And going into turn 4, that 7/7's coming down. Hooked Reaver's activated.
And there are no Varspines even in hand, let alone available to activate. And all of a sudden, that start's just gone for Kaosai. That 4-mana 7/7 with Taunt, pretty huge. And Kaosai's just going to have to face tank it just
to activate the Hench Clan Thug, yeah.
It's pretty brutal. As, of course, Malygos has not upgraded any Spellstones, nor does they even have one in hand. So it's very likely that this Hench Clan Thug is going to break its way through. But the second one...
Coming off the top, my goodness. But yeah, it's a powerful minion, but you just noted the lack of Spellstone means no healing available for Malygos. He's gonna have to just stick these taunts and hope that they don't get punched through, because he's very, very close to the end here. He's actually gonna play out the Homunculus and take a little bit more damage.
Yeah, take a tiny bit more damage. Sorry, excuse me.
And you know, interestingly,
so far these taunts are going down.
Yeah, we've seen also previously, you know, the opting for this slightly slower, less defensive line, and Malygos. We saw in the last game that Shutterwalk could have been lethal if he had, or a lethal threat if he had attacked with the minions first. I think if he would have played out that other Hooked Reaver, it was at least a possibility of a counter lethal if Kaosai didn't answer the minions, because that would have been 7/7 plus 7 and 7 plus the Hellfire.
Yep, but it would have been pretty susceptible to a 1-drop Valspine, as again this SI7 agent has just been kind of sticking around. And this second 7/7 is going to be dealt with. Calcite is going to go down to 9 health.
Well, not much burst damage coming out of the even lock. The Hellfire is about all he has to worry about. So, you know, if he goes down to 3 and manages to deliver lethal, that's enough.
Yeah, but if this Hellfire comes down, then it's just 1-off lethal for Calcite. We could see
a nice pickup here.
Hellfire to just be a little bit of healing, but then this Bone Mare is guaranteed to not have a target. So Malygos has this really interesting position of to play the Beetle before or after the Hellfire. Try and stick the Bone Mare and guarantee winning the game on the following turn, or try not to die on the following turn when you're definitely dead to something like Leroy anyway.
I like the option of either I win or you win rather than playing to not lose, and that's the way Malygos is going to go with it. Sticks that Beetle at 3 health. Top deck lethal again for the Odd Rogue. This is why Odd Rogue is so dangerous. There's so much damage in the deck. It's always a risk to sit that low health with any deck, and I credit Malygos for taking the risk, but the cards went in. Yeah, it went in Calcite's way that time. So this is going to reset the series. Now it's a best of 3. Both players 1-1. So this gives us remaining the Even Lock and the Cube Hunter versus the Shutterwalk and the Malygos Rogue. This is an interesting series.
Oh, that it is. And what we just saw there was
Malygos Druid.
Malygos Rogue has not been played in this tournament, as far as I know.
It is not.
Interesting deck that it is. It's not the highest tier deck.
Oh, we're going to see Calcite Shutterwalk now.
Ooh, Calcite finally on the walk after 2 games with the Druid. But just look at this opening hand from Malygos here.
Oh, man. Eggs and activators. This is not what the Shutterwalk wants to be faced up against, although the Hex and the Earthshock are both going to at least keep him from Malygos from abusing those eggs too much.
Yeah, but there's Kalaseth, which is always nice to see on turn 2. It's not the powerhouse it is, but playing it when both chain gangs are still in the deck, for example, means you get a little bit. I like this from Malygos, opting to not coin out the egg because there is double Earthshock in the Shutterwalk Shunt. Speaking of...
Man, that Calcite has been... Oh man, and a 2-mana Volcano. Woo. That's a couple of great pickups there, and I agree. Like, you never want to put down the egg when there's the possibility of it being silenced, and that's one of the ways that Shutterwalk survives against this Hunter deck is by making sure those eggs don't get abused. But coining out the play dead means there's a 5/5 on board no matter what Calcite does here. Second Hex being picked up off the top.
And now Calcite has this kind of awkward quandary of, I really want to Earthshock this egg, but at the same time, I really want to play a Kalaseth buffed Chain Gang.
Yeah.
As the Earthshock doesn't have much to go alongside it whatsoever.
Right. It would be a totem is all he would have access to. But Calcite has to consider if there's another activator in hand. I mean, there's at 4 mana, there could be a Terrascale Stalker and a Play Dead, and suddenly he's got 3 Raptors he's got to deal with.
That's a lot of Raptors.
Well, he's going to take the risk. The chain gang comes down. Second egg comes into the hand for Malygos.
Yeah, so we can see another egg and another Play Dead on the following turn, but this has actually worked out, I'm going to say, quite nicely for Calcite. By just delaying everything for Malygos, just buying yourself a little bit more time. And with the cheap Volcano as well, there's always the option for something like a Earthshock Volcano or a Hex Volcano in future turns. So we could even just see a Ziliax here to take out this 5/2.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate it. Ziliax would give it a little... Well, he's still at 28 health, though, so he'd just top off to 30. But Ziliax usually representing, 6 healing and, the removal of 1 to 2 minions. So it's a pretty good defensive card in the Shutterwalk deck.
It's just a pretty good card in general, which is why it's one of the only cards from the Doomsday Project currently seeing high-level competitive play. And Malygos picks up a cube off the top.
Oh, that's a nice pickup as well. Although it it does give him the option of later on, picking up more activators for those eggs, leaving that cube on board for kind of like a savings account for your Raptors, if you will. But Calcai's got ways to deal with it between the Hexes and the Earthshock.
Yeah, between the Hex and the Earthshock, but there's also this second Serenade Chain Gang, which does want to be played, or just Grumble, a 6-mana 8/8. Contests the board pretty well. And Calcai's got all the answers, just really awkward counts of mana on every turn.
That is quite a lot of damage on coming out of one minion, and no minions being returned to the hand either. So that's a pretty good tempo play if you just wanted to slam it. But he's just itching his trigger finger on those 2 hexes, looking at that cube holding 2 eggs.
Yep. There's the cube, there's the Earthshock. There's so many options for Calcai, and they all just don't quite align with this 6 mana. If this was 7 mana, fantastic. Calcai's taking his time thinking about it. I do like the Grumble.
He goes for it, yeah. He's going to say, all right, well, Malygos, if you have a way to activate that cube, you go for it, because he's sticking the Grumble now.
Spider Bomb Playdead. That is always an option.
Yeah, that would be a very powerful swing. Oh, he picks up the Terror Scale Stalker instead.
Ooh. So there's going to be a lot of eggs and raptors on the board at some point.
Yeah.
But at the same time, this is a very defensive play, and now Hex is going to or Earthshock is going to do a considerable amount of work. There's going to be no death battles left on the board. There will be this egg Terror Scale Playdead on the following turn. But with these 2 Serenade Chain Gangs, wow, the Volcano.
Wow, it's discounted. He's got enough mana to do this and play the double 3/4s that have been powered up by Keleseth. So this is actually quite a nice refill here for Calcai.
Yeah, but it wasn't the best Volcano, really.
No.
That 2-mana Volcano could have done so much more work, especially as we can see with Cast Division. Probably really wants that 2-mana Volcano sometime around now. Very wisely chooses to not play the second Playdead and play into the Mind Control techs available to Calcai. Sorry, singular Mind Control tech. There's only one.
Also gives Malygos the option of possibly later activating Kathrena if she comes off the top into turn 9. Decent chance of pulling out a big minion that'll manage to stick against the Shutterlock. So Calcai, though, even though he's done a pretty good job of holding off the aggression from the Cube Hunter, Rebob, no card draw.
Speaking of the devil, that's how you do it.
What is it with the casters calling cards and they coming off the top of the deck, man? That happens so much.
Yeah, it's always just Kathrena on 8.
Oh, and look at this. So Calcai is actually going to hex the Witchwood Grizzly,
I think,
as opposed to one of his death rattles.
That's going to be a double hex.
There you go. So now the Playdead is literally dead in hand. Well, I'm sorry, there's still an egg on the board. So this is probably the last opportunity that Malygos is going to have to get value out of that Playdead. But King Crush is going to come down instead.
The King Crush is just dead on board.
Yeah, just trades will do it. Healing Rain coming into the hand for Calcai, but he doesn't need it. He's at 29 health.
Nope. Yeah, with Kathrena already gone, with one Witchwood Grizzly gone, with both eggs having been played, we've seen a Terror Scale and a Playdead already. Malygos is really quickly coming towards that point where it's Rexar or bust, although Calcai has not hit any card draw. And once this Lightning Storm's gone, that's it. Both Hexes are gone, one Earthshock's gone. Both players just running out of cards pretty dramatically at this point.
Yeah, Calcai is going to have to hope that that Malygos doesn't have anything super powerful waiting in hand, and he doesn't.
Ooh.
There's a Keleseth and nothing.
That was the first time I've ever seen someone play a Lightning Storm and hope to low roll.
Right. So this Playdead does get its little bit of value, squeezing out one more Raptor. But Calcai's got time to try to find and draw into an answer for this refill from Malygos.
Yeah. Even the preemptive Hunter's Mark, just in case the Rexar of the top does show up. Both players just with absolutely nothing.
Yeah. So this. Well, hey, we're casting this match as a defensive play from the Shutterwalk's perspective, but Malygos is at 9 health. Although this Grizzly is going to be a 412.
Yep, that's a big bear.
There we go.
Draw, but it's going to die pretty quickly, and even if the taunt totem is rolled from this, which is 50% chance, which is missed.
That's the way the cookie rolls sometimes. Well, more card draw coming in the hand for
and there it is.
Ooh, Rexar off the top.
That's the guy.
Man, once again, we by the power of our caster voices, Rebob, we have summoned the cards from the deck. We mentioned Rexar. There he is.
I believe that was a vicious fledgling. No, it was just a massive taunt with lifesteal and rush.
And honestly, Malygos is at a position where the healing's going to be really relevant. Volcano's going to draw a ton of cards off this Acolyte of Pain, though.
And there's the most important of them all. There is the Shutterwalk, and there's Hagatha, which is going to be playable on the following turn.
Yeah, this not a bad result here for Kaosai at all.
But he might just be dead.
Although, yeah, if a Charger comes out of that Build-A-Beast, though, he's going to be done.
There is no Charger, however.
Not on the first one, at least.
No, this is the second option. The first one was taken that fast. Oh no, sorry, it was the Tundra Rhino.
Tundra Rhino.
Lethal. Yeah, so we didn't even get to see the Tundra Rhino. It was picked so fast.
That was a very fast pick off of the Build-A-Beast from Malygos. He knew what he was looking for. Saw the Charger, picked it up. We are now 2-1 in favor of Malygos. He goes up to match point, and his final deck that he has to get around to get with is not on my screen anymore, Rebob. What is Malygos' last deck?
It is the Even Warlock, and it is up against the Malygos Druid and the Shutterwalk Shaman. You know what's really important to note about the matchup with the Even Warlock against both of those decks, Sender? There's a copy of Demonic Project in this Even Warlock.
Oh my. Things are
indeed.
So here's the big question. These are open deck lists. Kaosai knows that Demonic Project is there, so you've got to imagine he's going to throw away anything that runs the risk of being projected.
Well, it's more just you, as the Shutterwalk in a matchup against Demonic Project, you need to hold on to resources, which is why it's quite easy to play around against something like a Control Warlock, but against a Even Warlock, where you also need to use your resources in order to not die. We do see a Mountain Giant, which is going to come out on turn 3, speaking of not dying, in Malygos' opening hand. It's already looking pretty good for Malygos.
Yeah, Mountain Giant is and there's a project off the top as well. My goodness. So this is looking fairly decent for Malygos coming out of the gate here, but Kaosai's got 0 mana Electra. That's nice.
That is very nice. And it's interesting that Malygos chose to not tap on the previous turn. Doesn't want to go for the turn 3 Giant play, just in case there is that Hex, instead opting to just take it a little bit slower.
Yeah, 5 mana Hex. 5 mana Hex is awkward, but I think that the Shutterwalk player is going to take it regardless. And this actually, you know what though?
A really nice position.
Yeah, maybe this was a bluff from Malygos saying, "Hey, I don't have Giant, so go ahead and expend your Glacial Shard or whatever you have." And then he's going to Giant out on 4 here?
Quite potentially, but we're just going to see the Giant up on 4 for 3 mana.
Yeah.
Plenty of stuff.
So the Giant's going to hit the board, and no answer except for that Volcano in Kaosai's hand. That's going to be factored greatly into his decisions making for the next turn. And interestingly, that's going to throw away his own Mana Tide totem. But I think he has to.
Yeah, but that Mana Tide is going to draw 2 cards. And if a Mana Tide can draw 2 cards in this matchup, you are pretty happy. There is the Shutterwalk, the guy himself. The Silent Changing is going to play pretty horribly into a Hellfire, but the Hellfire is going to clear off both this 3-1 and this 2-2, so there is going to just be the 8-5 Mountain Giant hitting Kaosai in the face. It's just a matter of whether Volcano now Or do you take the insurance policy that you have the 0-mana Electra to combine with Volcano at any point? Doing 30 damage to the board, even against an even Warlock, is often enough.
Yeah, and that looks to be the line. The Saturday Night Chain Gang is going to absorb some damage, or at least that's what Kaosai hoped for. With this Hellfire, is going to clear them off. 8 damage is going to go downtown, and we're off to the races in this matchup. This even lock getting that much closer to finishing off the Shutterwalk.
And with both copies of Hooked Reaver in hand, there is of course the upside to playing this Hellfire of just getting that little bit closer towards those being playable. And of course, there is Demonic Project in hand already.
Yeah, and look at this. The coin homunculus gets Malygos down to 17, so he's a single tap away from being able to activate those Hooked Reavers. So quite a lot of power coming into onto the board next turn for Malygos, and Kaosai now has to reconsider that Volcano once again.
The eternal question of when to Volcano, or indeed could just Ziliax at this point. Nope, just gonna go for the Volcano already. There is no answer for this Hooked Reaver when it does come down.
No, it's gonna be Gen going for the Gen first. Well, we have seen some interesting lines here from Malygos so far, kind of in a sense like fainting out what kind of hand he has, and hoping that Kaosai will bite on the wrong responsive play. But look at this, Malygos down to 12 now. Hooked Reaver going to come down now, finally, for the 7/7. Ooze, not going to get any use out of this. It's just more power on the board. May as well.
Yeah, so I think Malygos perhaps baiting by not going for the tap and Reaver there, but saying he didn't have it, which kind of baited Kaosai into playing this Life Drinker, meaning that Malygos could still have the option of tapping, playing it, and a 2-drop, but also means that he's going to go into his 8-mana turn with the kind of power play of a Hooked Reaver, fully upgraded Spellstone. If Kaosai does play something like Grumble over the next couple of turns, that's going to kill absolutely everything.
And really, looking at Kaosai's hand, like, there's not a whole lot he can do about this board. He might be able to put together a combination of Earthshock, Lightning Storm, and Electra to try and clear off this board, but it's a very clunky clear.
I am personally liking the look of Electra, Lightning Storm, and Ziliax. That is going to clear everything on the board 100%. If you high roll once on the Gen, then it's a board clear which allows you to keep this 3/3 Life Drinker as well.
Well, Electra's going to come down and the Lightning Storm, yep. He's hovering over that Life Drinker.
Yeah, see, I like the Ziliax more than the Life Drinker, as it's recurring life gain. But maybe Kaosai's actually just going for the lethal here.
Yeah, he also may be hoping that he picks up a Grumble as well, which will give him those... it'll be a Overload will prevent him from playing it, but it will give him the 1-mana Life Drinker later on. But another Hooked Reaver in the hand for Malygos, and another Giant just came off the top as well, so he's got plenty of power still left to go before this game is over.
I think, actually, maybe the thinking behind Kaosai playing the Ziliax, thinking about it a bit more, is that maybe he just doesn't want to play the Ziliax this game, or the Gluttonous Ooze, as those are kind of they're not important towards the combo, so they are the minions he's going to kind of hold in hand all game just to play around that single copy of Demonic Project. As if that hits Shudderwock, it's lights out, it's the game's over. Shudderwock needs to go off in this particular matchup in order for the Shudderwock Shaman to win.
Yeah, that's pretty prescient of you, Rebob. I think you might be right. Ziliax not part of the combo. Life Drinker is, so he wanted to get that out of hand onto the board as quickly as possible. But at the moment, he still needs to answer 11 power on board. Earthshock's going to get him part of the way there, and the Ooze is just going to come down to represent some damage on board. But
I think Malygos, if Malygos is paying attention, I think he can tell that Kaosai's setting up for a Shudderwock lethal here. As with 2 Life Drinkers in the pool, I believe. That's yes. 6 damage. So this does represent lethal. So Malygos could just pull the trigger on this project right now if he gets that read.
It would be a 50-50 if he did either Ziliax or Shudderwock. He hits the Shudderwock. It's very close to
game over.
Yeah.
It's basically tournament over at that point. There's, of course, the option of Hagatha, just kind of outvalue your opponent there and maybe try and win in fatigue. But that's a good 12 turns away, Sander.
Well, I think Malygos is going to go ahead and get out a giant first, just to make sure he has a little bit of an insurance policy in case the demonic project doesn't hit the way he wants to, or maybe Shutterwalk's not in hand. Oh, he's not going to go for it. He's going to go for the protector, the defensive line.
Ooh, and this back and forth is super interesting. So with 3, 4, 12, this is exactly 15 on the board where Volcano to be played.
Right. And Hagatha gonna nearly clear the board here. Keleseth gonna at least challenge the Mountain Giant that remains after the AoE. And both of these players close to the edge. When does Malygos pull the trigger on this demonic project? Skulking Guy's coming down to burn a few cards here.
Actually destroys the randomly generated Fort Lightning there, which was actually a really good answer to this Mountain Giant. So
it was, yeah. That would have been a perfect answer. 2 damage to 2 minions. Malygos now that the second Giant's out, the second Hooked Reaver is out. There's very little remaining, threats remaining in Malygos's hands. So he's down to defensive cards and what he has on board. And here comes the Ziliax.
Oh, and this is the last minion in hand. Ice Fishing, not the card. Just never the card, really.
It was practically necessary for Kaosai to play this to avoid just getting beaten down by this giant Geist combo. Hex is going to take care of the other one. And
hexing a Skulking Geist is just doesn't feel great. And with that Hex being played, Malygos is going to feel a lot better about playing this Dread Infernal.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
a big demon.
Yeah, it is. And the Defile's going to clear away the board and prevent any more healing coming out of the Ziliax. This sets Kaosai to 18, but Shutterwalk is...
And he's doing it!
There it is!
And he's got the walk, and even gets a Lord Jaraxxus for his troubles. I think that's
no. Now what does Kaosai do? But Malygos is still at 10 health, though. Could he still pull this out just on tempo?
I've got to be honest with you, Cinder. I don't see the Nether Soul Buster. Just read that card's name for literally the first time. This 3-mana 1/5 probably not going to do it, especially because
there was a huge pickup off the top, though.
And honestly, Cinder, Kaosai could have just played Volcano instead of that Ziliax Hex combo. There was a 50-50 there.
Yeah.
There's a Bloodlust.
Bloodlusts. This isn't quite over yet, Rebob. There's still some lines that need to be played out.
There are, but also there is a fully upgraded Spellstone in Malygos' hand. There's a Taunt on board, and even if he gets down to, say, 4 health, there's Lord Jaraxxus, which will heal right back up to 15. Anyone who played Lord Jaraxxus back when the card was played will remember that one.
Yep, so a Spellbreaker going to prevent any card draw coming out of that Acolyte of Pain, and 11 damage going downtown for Malygos. And the healing's going to bring him back out of range of anything like a couple of double lava bursts or anything that could have come off the Hagatha. But look at this, the healing rain.
Let's see if there's a double high roll on these 3 health minions. Only 1.
Oh no!
There's still 11 health on the board. And maybe got to play this lava burst on one of these minions just to get it off. But
he might have to.
No, this is lava burst to the self face, I think. This is going to be a concede. Maybe. No.
He thought about it.
6-1.
It's the stakes are too high here, Rebob. He's got to go for it, but Gul'dan comes off the top.
That's got to be it. I don't see any outs for Kaosai. That is just going to be game.
Wow. Kaosai, I got to give him credit for at least trying to play out that game just off of tempo out of the deck. With Shutterwalk gone, but Gul'dan resurrecting so many minions. We'd seen both Hooked Reavers.
It's just not happening.
Yeah, there was
Infernal, as well as I think 1 Vulgar Homunculus. We didn't even get to see the Gul'dan resurrect pool happen. The concede was so fast, and there were just like I think there were at least 1 or 2 points in all of those games where I think Karasai could have approached it a little bit differently than that and would have been perhaps rewarded for doing so. There was an option in that game in particular where instead of playing Ziliak's Hex, could have just gone for a Volcano and maintained the multiple minions in hand. Because when you have only Shadowwalk in hand against a deck with Demotic Project, you are kind of just asking for trouble. Malygos recognized what Karasai was setting up for and very astutely made the read that Shadowwalk was happening and just went for it, was duly rewarded. Like, Malygos' play throughout that entire series was hugely impressive.
Yeah.
Like,